Hey, how's it going, runner? Coach Kyle here, and today I'm gonna help you if you've been struggling to get up in the morning to go run. My goal with this video is that you come away with 1 or 2 actionable tips or tricks that you can put into practice to get you out there in the early morning and get those runs in. It might be because this is the best time for you to run in regards to your work, your life schedule, maybe the weather, whatever the reason is, it doesn't always make it easier just because you have a good reason. So as always, let's go through this and let me know in the comments if you have any other tips or tricks or if there's anything I missed. So I'm gonna talk about what I think is the best type of alarm clock. Something you can do when the alarm goes off to help you get your ass out of bed. 2 tricks I use with my clients to increase the odds that they get up in the morning. What you can do the night before to help you the next morning. And finally, what I think is the #1 best thing you can do to ensure you get those morning runs in. So let's start with the alarm clock, which in my case isn't actually an alarm clock, it's a pot of coffee. And I have mine turn on at 4 a.m. and my actual alarm on my phone goes off at 5, 5:02, and 5:04. But it's rare, it's actually quite rare I ever hear those alarms. I'm usually up when my coffee starts percolating in the kitchen in the morning. I've been using the coffee machine alarm clock for years now, and like I said, hearing that percolation come from down the hallway in the kitchen is just a nice, light way to arouse me from sleep. My wife typically sleeps through it, and I know for a fact it 100% helps me get out of bed knowing there's some fresh coffee waiting for me. Something else that helps me get out of bed is the idea I got from Mel Robbins, who you maybe recognize from her TED Talk. Mel discusses this method that she came up with after watching a rocket launch where her alarm clock would go off and she'd start to question her sanity. She started counting down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then she would think, blast off, and she would get out of bed. And she says the same thing, as cheesy, as weird as it sounds, it totally works. So you gotta count down, because you can count up forever, but you gotta count down. You get the 1, 0, what are you gonna do then? You get out of bed, you blast off. And sometimes I literally lightly blast off so I don't wake up my wife. Try it, see if it helps, and if not, I have 2 more tips that work for myself and runners that I coach. The first is an end of the week visualization that I put in for my clients in their final surge calendar. And I ask them to look at the week ahead, look at the next week of training, and type out 1 sentence per day what they're going to do when they're going to do their training each day. This includes the running, yoga, stretching, massage gunning, strength work, etc. And I got this idea after learning about the act of actually writing stuff out like this and putting them maybe semi-public. Doing that actually helps increase the odds that you do what you're gonna say, what you want to do. The second thing I will sometimes do with my runners is use text messaging to set some expectations. So a couple of ways I do this is to create a reminder for myself to text a runner the evening before a long run or a workout, and I simply ask them, do you have everything set out ready to go for tomorrow's workout? Or, hey, have a good run tomorrow. Or, send me a selfie from your run tomorrow. And this just kind of ups the ante a little bit in regards to helping them get ready, get up in the morning and go do that run. And one of my favorite coaching stories is from a runner who she told me she didn't, one time she didn't really feel like going out for her run. I think the weather was pretty bad that day, but she got all of her gear on, ready to go. She went out and stood on her front stoop, and she said she stood there, but she couldn't think of a good excuse to give to Coach Kyle on why she would have skipped her run. So she went and did it, and she was glad she did. What a surprise. And so no matter how good running is for us, sometimes it's hard to get going, but having somebody like a coach set some expectations for you, just helps you do those things that maybe require a little bit of activation energy, a little bit of oomph, but they're good for us, and we're glad we do them once we get started. Speaking of what to do before the evening runs, I mentioned laying out gear, and that's a great way to kind of make it happen. I'm sure you've heard that having a consistent bedtime helps as well, and so we put Quincy to bed around 7 o'clock, and I usually spend the time until 7:30 or 8 cleaning the kitchen, putting away all his toys, etc. And that just tidies up the house So it's done, it looks nice, it's good to go. I try to do a bit of journaling and reading, and I try to be in bed by 9, ideally sleeping by 9:30, maybe 10, to get a solid 6-7 hours of sleep before I join the 4 a.m. club the next day. You don't have to be perfect with your evening routine. I'm not always perfect, but I think having a rough hour range where you kind of get into bed mode and make it happen, it helps. But it's not as helpful as the next tip. And it's the best thing I think that you can do to increase how likely you are to get up in the morning and go run is to make a commitment with another runner. I don't do this very often with my weekday runs, but for those early summer long runs, having 1 or 2 local running buddies that I know are expecting me to go out and meet them, at a quarter mile away at the park down the street, definitely helps me get up and get out the door early for those long morning hot summer runs. Those runs always end up being one of the most enjoyable runs of the week, and I basically have 0 excuses, and it almost always happens. So whatever you can do, is if it's meeting 1 or 2 neighborhood friends like I do once or maybe twice a week, or committing to join a friend at a local group run that is already meeting, whatever you can do to increase the chances that you go do that run, you get up and go do that run, it's gonna help and you're gonna be glad you did. As I mentioned, one of the reasons you may want to get up early in the morning to run is to avoid excessive heat or humidity. And if that's the case, check out this video for some great tips on how to best manage running in those extra warm or sticky conditions.